All right. Hello, and thank you for joining me for this month's full scope workshop. Today, we will be having an open discussion with four people who participated in the 2025 Burning Man event. Before we begin, I would like to remind all attendees that this workshop is being recorded and will be posted on our county website and social media accounts. By participating in the workshop, you agree to be included in the recording. We will have a question and answer segment after the presentation. If you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, you can either raise the chat box and we will address them the best we can. Now, please welcome. We have Rick Martinez and Caroline Kamm, Lena Alani, and Nancy Foster. Let me begin by talking a little bit about the Burning Man project, and then we'll dive into our introductions. So the Burning Man event, according to their website, is a global ecosystem of artists, makers, and community organizers who co-create art, events, and local initiatives around the world. Most recognizably, 10 of thousands of burners gather annually to build Black Rock City, a participative temporary metropolis in the Nevada desert. The nonprofit Burning Man Project produces the annual Burning Man event in Black Rock City and provides year-round support, connection, education, and grants to an ever-growing network of regional Burning Man communities in more than 40 U.S. states and 35 countries. Okay, now with that, let's please welcome our speakers. Let's start with Lena. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves and then tell us a little more about your artwork?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Lena Alani. I'm a circus artist based in Las Vegas, Nevada. I performed with Cirque du Soleil Beatles Love Show here in Vegas that closed until
Maybe it's me, but is everyone hearing Lena okay?
yeah. Okay. Strange. Should I continue?
We hear you perfectly
Yeah,
well
okay.
from our end.
Okay, great. So then I'll continue. Let me know if I need to cut it off. But yes, my show closed, and it closed about almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. And since then, I've been exploring different kinds of art. I've been wanting to transition from performing industry into making art. And so Burning Man was my first time that I ever showcased my art, and it was a little bench, 3 people bench, seat, like a garden swing that I decorated as I called it basically Blessed Be the Boobies, and it was decorated with titties of all kinds of shapes and colors. I made this really big blanket for it that was covered in titties and nipples, and yeah, just a bunch of dangly little titties everywhere. It was really colorful. So it was my first time bringing art to play, which was super special. When they showed me my little spot, I cried a little bit because it like looked right at the man, and it was just gorgeous and beautiful. Yeah, so that's me.
Give me 1 second. I'm having a little technical difficulties. I'm gonna go ahead and move it along then to Rick and Caroline. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little more about your artwork.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Caroline Kamm.
and my name is Ricardo Martinez. And we've been going to Burning Man this is our third year and our third art piece as well. We didn't know much about what Burning Man was, but a friend told us, hey, your artwork seems like it could go well out there. So we applied for an honorarium, which I'm sure we'll cover later today. And we did our first work in 2023. Then our second one last year, which was a giant banana. Then our third one this year. We are based in Brussels, Belgium, but we moved to do these artworks here. And this is the third time we've done that. We've come to Vegas and built art. We feel like locals now. And we're even considering staying for way
The
longer
long
time
haul.
for
Yeah.
the long haul.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll talk about the piece more after, but this year Rick is the lead artist of the piece. It's called Ozymandias, and I was a supporting artist. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Yes, we will dive into your artwork a little more. There were a little some incidents that happened recently with your artwork. So, well, I'm sure everyone's curious to hear about it. We'll cover it in a little while. Nancy, please introduce yourself and give us a little more information about your artwork.
Yeah, hi, I'm Nancy. I run FOMO Design Lab here in town. It's a Sewn Goods. We do sets and props for film and TV, as well as costumes for some of the shows on the strip. Been making sewing things pretty much my whole life. So I've got this big shop in town where we can make all kinds of fun stuff. Been going to, I think this was my 7th or 8th year at Burning Man, the 3rd year bringing a piece of art. 3 years ago, we brought this giant neon octopus that kind of turned into it on a really high wind day. So it didn't quite make the whole week, but it was this fabulous like piece with giant neon blacklit arms that people would gather around and hang out in. And so that was really magical to see. Last year, we brought a tester version of the piece that was going to be a bigger version this year, called Cardinal Gates. And so this year, due to a lot of kind of mishaps along the way, we put up a very smaller version of our piece that we intended. But it was recycled convention banners, these beautiful shaped sunrise, sunset skies, different times of the day. So, you know, we're kind of regrouping and probably bringing it back, hopefully in its biggest version next year.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to have found so many artists that participated this year. It was very hard for me to find participants last year. I feel like, you know, we don't really have a lot of Las Vegas artists practicing any artwork for the Burning Man event. Um, I believe the first time I heard about the event was from Luis Varela Rico, and that was just a few years ago, and I didn't even know about the event. And when I did, oh my gosh, I just dived into it, and it's such an incredible. I don't even want to call it an event. It's like it's its own community. It has its own rules, and you know, just everything about the Burning Man is so different from what we're used to here in Las Vegas. And it would be so amazing if we had something like that here, right? So for the 3rd year in a row, I am picking Burning Man participants' brains to see if we can get more Las Vegas participants for next year. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Well, let's dive into our conversation. The first thing that I do want to ask about is how long have you been participating in Burning Man? I know, I believe Lena said that this is her first time actually participating, bringing her artwork in, but you have been going to the event, you know, before you actually brought an installation in, right?
Correct. This is my 5th year and the first time bringing the artwork.
That's awesome. And Nancy, how long have you been doing this?
So this was my 7th year. My first year I went was 2017, I think, and then there was 2 years COVID times. Didn't make it to that one. First year I went, I made some smaller fabric banners for all of my campmates. So they were like hand designed with images on them, which I kind of consider artwork for sure. In there too, we brought a smaller like LED digital light wall that we had hand built and programmed, again, just for a camp. It was kind of a way to test out, you know, lights and batteries and power sources and managing all that out there, because power is a big thing if you need to light something up. And 3 years ago, Tefeki, the giant alien octopus experience. And then last year and this year we brought Cardinal Gates, the banner piece that talks about the cardinal directions in space and time.
That's awesome. Yeah, those pictures are amazing. And we'll share those pictures in a moment so everyone can see what they look like.
Okay.
Rick and Caroline, can you tell us how long you've been participating in Burning Man?
Yeah, so this was our third year and also our third year bringing art. So I would say, I mean, maybe we'll go into it later. I would say not to bring art your first year, but at the same time, we did and had a great time. And I know a lot of people who did and had a great time. So I guess it's just kind of to qualify it, saying it will be incredibly challenging if you choose to bring art on the first year that you go to Burning Man. But it's also very doable. Lots of people have done it. Just be prepared to get as prepared as you can and to adapt on the fly and try to meet some really good people who know a bit more about Burning Man than you.
So you both just dived right in. That's
We did.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was that rain that year where it rained for half of the week, so it was also a fun experience to see the desert in a different light.
Oh yeah, I do remember that year. That was different. But I heard that there were some weather issues in the beginning of this year's also, wasn't there? Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure,
Uh,
yeah, I think it's good to do.
Yeah,
Did
we
did
had
you all face any obstacles during that weather?
so in at least from our side of things, last year we had done a piece that was meant to sustain 60-mile-per-hour winds, and during the middle of the week we hit 55 miles per hour winds. So we were like, okay, this is not going to happen again. Well, this year proved us wrong. This year, during build week, which is the week before the event, we had a pretty catastrophic wind event that not only affected a lot of art pieces. Thank God our art piece wasn't affected, but mostly the way we camped, tent, shade structures, it all went and got destroyed.
so I think for every artist, it would have been very different. Obviously, there was some artwork that was severely impacted by the wind. Otherwise, it may have just been that work timelines were impacted by the wind, but it's just one of those things that's part of the event. There can be extreme weather. We had wind followed by rain, so that just kind of, in our case, it pushed back some of our work timeline, and that was kind of the worst that happened. But yeah, I don't. The other artists might want to weigh in as well on how it impacted. It just, sometimes you have to stop working and just wait it out. Sometimes work that you've already done gets torn down and you have to start over and adapt and whatever it might be. But when they tell you to prepare for, Burning Man usually says, you should be able to withstand 60-mile-per-hour winds. They're not kidding. That really does happen, and it's important that pieces are resilient and kind of ready for that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's such a common thing that public artists have to face, though, having to have your installation, your artwork out in the open in the public like that. It does open it up for opportunities of vandalism or weather or anything like that. So you kind of have to be prepared for that. Nancy, Lena, how was that for you guys?
So for me, I feel really lucky. I drove out on Playa around 5:30 or 6 o'clock on Sunday when right as the storm hit, and I was in my car, and I literally just put my frame, and the wind started, and everything just got dark. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna sit in my car, and I sat in my car for 3 hours, just listening to BMIR, which said at 7:15 it'll be over, and it wasn't over. So I kept sitting until it was kind of over, but had help of some people who were actually just walking by, who helped me kind of anchor the frame down of my piece. Otherwise, it just topples over. The winds were so strong, my metal pieces were just flying. Yeah, and it was just devastating to see some other pieces of friends and just people that I know and heard that things got completely destroyed. Some pieces never recovered. Some camps never recovered. There was a camp across of us at 730 B Plaza that had like this balloon thing. It flew away and ripped half of the camp off with it, essentially. And we know of the, I forgot, the black cloud piece that essentially got ripped to pieces and flown into the trash fence, and they stripped it into no fate sign, essentially. So yeah, a lot of pieces got destroyed, but I feel lucky that I started my build after the storm itself. So yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad that your installation made it. That was a good thing to wait, huh? Nancy, what about you?
Yeah, so we kind of had a blessing in disguise. There was a big mix up with our placement and where our piece should have been and where the artery placed it. You think of Burning Man and it's all this, free for all, no rules, but there's quite a bit of rules and bureaucracy. So we were having a hard time getting our piece moved to where it needed to be as a piece. So when we first went into the artery on Saturday morning, and we were told that this is the location you have to put the piece where they placed it, and it was just completely wrong for the piece. We decided to wait, and it turned out to be that blessing in disguise, because if we hadn't have waited, our entire camp, who was our build crew, would have been out helping us when the storm hit on Saturday night. So instead of holding our camp down in the 70-mile-an-hour winds, like physically holding our camp down, we would have been out building the piece. So it was nice that we were all able to join together in camp and hold things down. And then we ended up not setting anything until Monday, just because of the bureaucratic delays in trying to get our piece placed in the right place. So it was, and by the time we put our piece in on Monday, we'd rebuilt camp a couple of times. After the rains, we were in a tent, so our tent got wet. So, we're kind of sleeping in this like dusty, wet space, and then, just having to manage everything else, like everyone else around us. It was a lot, but we got through it, and the camp really, came together.
Yeah, well, that's good. I love hearing when the people there come together to help each other out, no matter if they're strangers or if they know each other. Every time I hear a story of somebody participating in the Burning Man, and they run into obstacles, there's always somebody there willing to lend a hand, and I think that's really beautiful. I do have a question. I don't think I tried to read about it before, but I don't think I ever came across it. Are you able to stake down your installations? Do they let you install it into the ground?
Yeah, there are some restrictions on how you can install it into the ground. Like there are certain things that you're not supposed to like bury, like dig big holes and bury. But for the most part, it's very well engineered. You are expected to have an anchoring plan, and oftentimes that includes ground anchors. Sometimes that can include, like guy wires, things like that. But yes, you can definitely anchor.
And if your piece is above a certain height, they will ask you for engineering plans. If your piece makes it to the playa and it's deemed too dangerous, they will try and fix it with guy wires or with. There's always someone watching whether the pieces are safe or not. And then there's also the way that people will interact with them, and that you just leave it open for people to interact in any way they're gonna.
Hopefully you anticipate some of that beforehand.
Hopefully you anticipate,
yeah, I've always been curious about that, because I've seen these large installations where people are climbing on it, swinging off of them. Do they have to sign some sort of waiver or anything like that as far as liability goes?
Your ticket is your waiver.
Okay.
So on your ticket, it's all printed off that if you do dangerous things, that's on you.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
It literally says you can die.
I would assume, and I've heard some stories. So I'm not sure if they're true, but I have heard some stories of crazy things happening during Burning Man.
In the art application process to bring your art, and for the honorariums, there's a series of questions that they ask, like, are you prepared that people may do things you're not expecting with your piece, basically? So, they really want you to think through, like, it's a little thin metal thing, but they might climb on it. They might try to jump over it.
Right.
They might try to bike on it. So you definitely, as an artist, you have to think through those things and try to prepare for everything you can think of, knowing that there's going to be things you haven't even imagined.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, that's great to know that they think about those types of things. As participants, do they also tell attendees to oh, like Caroline said, it's in the ticket. If you buy a ticket, you're pretty much signing off on it. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to what made you decide on participating this year? Now, this came up in our discussion during the meet and greet. A lot of our artists get a little cold feet when they see something like this, and they don't feel like they're enough to participate in something like Burning Man. Can you give us a little insight on what made you decide to participate? Um, let's start with Lena, since she's the
Perfect. I just
prop.
unmuted myself. Yeah.
Great.
Wonderful. So, as I said, this is was my fifth year coming to Burning Man, and I just wanted to give to community a little bit more than what I've been giving, which I've been going with theme camps and doing the shifts, as you're supposed to, give to community something, as being part of it. So this year I just wanted to give something more, or kind of give a different layer, or maybe even peel a different layer of participation as for myself. Maybe it was a selfish. No, it wasn't a selfish reason. And I wanted to create a safe space for people to be on the playa, because what I found for me, the most profound and intimate moments that I had on playa were always on the deep playa, or inner playa, but in the playa, not in the city. And I would always stumble on this like space, whether it was a room, a little swing, or a little thing to climb on or into. And it always felt so special to come inside of this thing and just kind of huddle and meet some people and just kind of have really intimate conversations and moments. And I wanted to recreate that, but I wanted to bring that basically, with a theme of femininity this time. I really wanted to give it to women this year. I wanted to pinpoint that women are just the driving force of this world. We're giving life to this world, and I wanted to honor women for their beauty, for their hard work, and hence the boobies. Um, yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. Nancy, did you want to go ahead and?
Yeah. Well, 3 years ago when we first brought the octopus, I've been going for 4 or 5 years, and just wanted to interact with Burning Man in a different way. There's so much to do out there. And schedule, it's like you choose your own schedule. You choose your own life adventure out there. And I really wanted to experience it with the responsibility of an art piece and bring something to share with the Burning Man community, kind of like Lena was saying. I wanted to be a part of what was happening, not just a spectator, which they really discourage out there. So then last year came across these gorgeous convention banners that really inspired me with this Cardinal Gates skyscape piece. And then this year we had the chance to expand it and brought in a lot of our campmates live in Vegas. So it was a really nice way to bring in our campmates. We were having weekly work parties at my shop, getting everyone together, teaching people new skills. Some people learned to sew for the first time. So that was kind of a driving force behind the piece this year as well, and expanding it, is being able to open it up to our Burning Man camp community here. And then just to, like I said, just to bring something to share.
It's wonderful. Rick and Caroline, did you want to share why you decided to participate?
This year, I don't know. I thought to myself, we thought, we were in Belgium. We still had the itch to make more big art, and we said we're not going to build a big sculpture in Belgium. There's no space for it. So I think this year we said it's time to do another climbable sculpture. That was really fun. Every year we go, we meet the most wonderful people. We have the most wonderful food, whether it's a bag of chips that someone gives you or ramen noodles. And we just couldn't miss out on the opportunity of doing it again. It comes with its challenges, but I think that's the only place we would have been. That's the only thing we wanted to do for that month, and we did it, even though it cost us a lot of months.
It's definitely worth it at the end, isn't it?
Hope so. I think so. In many ways, yeah.
In many ways, yes, yes.
Definitely. And you both do something interesting with your pieces. I believe this is the second year I've seen you all do a workshop and involve community into creating your piece, right? You usually have sort of a welding party and let others participate. I think that's really neat. I wanted to be there this year. I totally missed it. I'm sorry. But I'm hoping that you will have it again for next year, and I really do want to participate this time.
Yeah,
And
it's always a fun little send off. Like we have been doing our builds behind Left of Center Gallery in North Las Vegas. And about a week or two before Burning Man, we'll have a little volunteer event for people to come. In this case, it's buffing out around some of the welds, just cleaning them up a little bit. But not only do we actually get a lot of work done. It's incredible that volunteers come out and they really do put in a lot of work. But it's also just a cool way to get people back into the space. And this year, I think we had about a dozen volunteers, and we only knew maybe half of them going into it. So it's really cool to see people are enthusiastic about participating in art production, even if they don't personally know the person, or it's a cool way to get people involved.
And we could this year, at least before the burn started, we got to meet some of the most wonderful people who helped us out with the project. But not only that, they said, hey, let's do something else next year. And then you start really building a community of artists or people who are interested in art adjacent. It's a really good experience to just throw an event and watch the community build itself.
That's amazing. Yeah, there it is again, right? That community. I love that. So let's get into a little bit more of how you're building your fabrication process. But before all that, you have to get some sort of funding. So let me start with Nancy. Nancy, can you share with us a little bit on how you funded your installation? I know a lot of people usually they go for grants, or I believe Burning Man also has their own grants and fundings as well. Did you utilize any of those, Nancy?
Yeah, so this was the second year I applied for the honorarium. And the first time I did for Octopus, the honorarium is like a two-step process. So you send in a letter of intent, and then they invite a certain number of people to put in a full proposal. Then out of that number, they fund a smaller percentage. So with our first project, we didn't get asked back, but in this one, we did get asked to do a full proposal. Didn't get funding, but it was nice to be asked. So other than that, it was pretty much self-funded, and then with volunteer labor and helping. Burning Man did step up with a couple of gift tickets for us, as you know, to help us get our piece there, and some discounted tickets for some of our crew. So that was definitely nice to have that support from them. But for the funding of the piece itself, it was all self-funded. And then, I used as much recycled, upcycled materials as I could. So
that's always a great way to go, using upcycled materials for your build, right? It's less costs and well, maybe about the same amount of labor though. Did you have a whole group of people who helped you with the labor, or was this mainly your build?
We had our campmates coming. We had maybe 5 or 6 weekly build sessions where our campmates and some other folks came to the shop and helped. Because like all the banners were these big crazy shapes, and we needed to cut them down and sew them and put in the channels and the webbing to reinforce them to the ground, and sort bolts and holes. And so there was a lot to do, but we did get some help this year, which was great.
That's awesome. And I'm assuming you also had some help come with you during the event to help out as well.
Yeah, our campmates
Okay.
are lovely, generous people that offered to help set up. So
That's wonderful. And you already explained a little bit of your installation process when you got there. Was there any other obstacles that you ran into on the way and right at installation? I mean, besides the
no,
weather, obviously.
the weather, the placement was the mix up with the artery and the placement, and dealing with that bureaucracy was probably the hardest thing we've come across so far bringing art to Playa. For some reason, we were told it was a really laborious, time-intensive process to move pieces of art. And so no one explained why, but we were just told repeatedly that in order for us to move our piece to a different location or have our location moved to where we'd requested it to be, it was too time intensive to be done.
Oh, wow.
Until like 3 days later, then they came back and said, "Oh, you've been approved. You can move." But that's already after we set up one pod and had taken time and expense, and our campmates, our crew, were all spent from rebuilding camp. So that was the biggest obstacle this year, which really kind of befuddled us and took a lot of wind out of our sails because I get the placement. They put a lot of thought into the placement, but where we wanted to be moved to there wasn't anything out there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we weren't using, like some artists, they require bigger equipment, and the artery can provide some assistance with digging or placing or forklifts, or they do have some bigger equipment for big pieces, which is amazing. But we weren't asking for any help. We weren't asking for any machinery, and it was like we were totally self-contained. So to be told no for 3 days, that we couldn't put our piece in the place where it needed to be for the piece to be able to breathe and live, that's probably the most frustrating thing. Like, other than that, we had done a lot of planning, a lot of like troubleshooting, testing out our tools, making sure the hammer drill we were using could plug into my truck. Like, we did all this testing and prep work here. So we were ready to like install our bolts, install our 4-foot rebar, our posts, our lag screws. Like, we were ready. We just weren't able to do it this year. So,
Oh, wow. That sounds frustrating. Do they pick your spots for you, or you get to pick the spot where you're put? They pick
you
it.
can, yeah, like we had done directions on where we want it to be. Like, we knew we were going to be camping on the 2 o'clock side of the clock. And the last 2 years, our piece has been kind of like at 1:40, 1:45 on the clock, sort of out where you can see the mountains. You have like a 270-degree view of the mountains and the playa, and it's a great like space for a piece that contemplates the directions and time movement of time.
Yeah.
But then ultimately, if you register your piece ahead of time, you arrive and there's this big map with green dots, and that dot is where you were supposed to be. And yeah, it felt like it took an act of the gods this year for them to say yes, but then it was too late. So also I guess there was a lot of confusion this year. I don't know if you faced this. The placers, after the team goes through and places all the art on a map, there's a team that goes out with these CDs, like old school CDs, and a pink construction floofy and a big nail, and they go out and they put these floofies in the ground based on the map. And apparently this year, a lot of the floofies were not in the right place because there was some hiccup with the GPS system they were using. So I guess our piece was really close to the Esplanade, right near a sound camp, and it wasn't even supposed to have been there, but we couldn't even get help figuring out where it was supposed to. Like it was in the frontage for the sound camp, so it was all really messy, and there was a lot of things at play.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, but we're looking to come back next year, so
Of course. Of course. Why not?
what can you
That shouldn't
do?
stop you, right? I mean, that shouldn't be too big of a obstacle that you wouldn't come back. Lena, Rick, and Caroline, did you face any of these obstacles?
Um, I feel really lucky. I just received a really good spot because I told them I'm the first time artist and I needed the piece to be either on the plazas or on Inner Playa. I requested Inner Playa, which is the closer to the city, because I had these batteries for lights that were really heavy and I had no help. It was just me installing this piece. I had no assistance from
Oh
anyone else.
wow.
So I requested to be on the Inner Playa so I can like just zoom on my bicycle to swap the batteries. And yeah, I feel really lucky. It was super close. It was like right in front of Artery, just a little bit in. So I fortunately didn't have to deal with any of the bureaucracy, and I'm sorry, Nancy, you had to. I'm sure there are different challenges with all kinds of variations this year and every year probably. But yeah, it was a relatively easy process to. I had the CD you were talking about, the with pink fluffies. Um, we found it pretty easily with my art placement person. Um, yes, that was a pretty easy process this year. And I'm sorry, what was the other question?
How did you fund your installation? You
Oh,
went there by yourself. Wow. All
yeah,
right.
I was super late on the application process.
Uh-huh.
It was like literally let's say 2 months before Burning Man. I solidly decided to do this. So I just
Yeah.
applied online. I think application closes maybe a month before Burning Man
Mhm.
starts. I did not obviously get any funding because that process was closed by then for sure. So it was just a simple
Okay.
application of bringing your art. And I was like, you know what, fine. I don't need, I can fund this. This is going to be easy. I got a swing off of OfferUp. I painted it. I made all the decorations myself. Yarn and batteries and lights, it does cost money. So they were
Mhm.
super kind and they offered me a free ticket and a parking pass. So that was exciting. That helped to fund this project for sure. Um, yeah,
Well, that's really great to hear too, that you were able to do all that on your own. A lot of
yeah,
people tend to think that you need like a whole crew or, a whole group of people to go with you in order to even have an installation there. So it's really great to hear that you don't even have to have a whole team with you, that you can do it
absolutely.
yourself.
Yeah, it was
That's
really fun and I kind of wanted to do it by myself. Yeah, just wanted to prove that I can do it.
awesome. What an adventure.
Yeah.
Caroline, Rick, how about you both? How did you fund that project? I mean, you had a large installation compared to everyone
Yeah,
else.
we did. So this was actually a kind of unusual year. It was it was mostly self-funded. This one we kind of planned on doing something in the last year or so. We were planning on doing Burning Man Air, but we weren't sure yet. We did apply for an honorarium and we didn't receive one this year. Um, so that kind of had us reassessing how we're going to do it. But we were able to do a little bit of fundraising. We got a little bit of private funding for it, and then we also did a small crowdfunding campaign, which helped to fund some of the materials and workspace. I will say that crowdfunding campaigns are a lot of work, but the Burning Man community is like really incredibly generous. Like because we had done a really big crowdfunding in 2023 where we like super put out the word with our friends and family and they like came out in droves. We didn't feel like doing that scale of one again. So we really kind of focused on just communicating to the Burning Man community. And it's incredible that like people we don't even know personally will donate to projects just because they love seeing artwork out there, and you know, just presented in a way that makes people want to get involved, and people really do come out. The past 2 years we had received honoraria, so I can talk about that a little bit if that's of interest. But you know, it's definitely, it is for larger builds, it's very helpful to have an honorarium. This is our first year not having one, and it was more challenging, but doable still.
Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? Tell us a little bit about those honorariums because we might have attendees or viewers who would want to know how to get into that.
Yeah, so like Nancy mentioned, it is a two-step process. You submit a letter of intent first in like October, November. And then if you're asked back for the second round, you submit a full proposal, I believe, towards the end of December, sometime around December. And then they tell you if you've received it or not in February, March, something like that. Funding, it's grant funding for up to 60% of the project, but usually it's more like 40% of the project. And then the actual process with the organization is actually quite similar to anyone who's bringing placed art. So you're given an art liaison, which is your individual point of contact with the Burning Man organization. It's a bit more hands-on if you're an honorarium recipient, so you'll actually have a lot of contact with your art liaison. If you're bringing artwork on your own, you'll kind of get an email and a call at the very beginning, and then, you know, if you need anything, you can reach out to them. But it's not super hands-on unless you need it to be hands-on. And then, I mean, really the honorarium doesn't change a whole lot in terms of the way that you might get a couple more tickets because you're an honorarium project, but other than that, it's pretty similar to the process of submitting and bringing placed art that anyone goes through.
Except with a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit of money always helps, for
Yeah.
sure. All right. Well, now that we've talked about how you funded your project, how you got there, the first day of installation, tell us more about the event itself, like the whole stay. I know this is a long event. You have to stay there a few nights, sometimes without showers and decent food, but give us that experience. Let us know how it was.
I think for us at least, this event was very different from the rest of them because it felt like we were mostly in work mode, building the camp, then rebuilding the camp, then installing the structure, then reinstalling the structure. So it was a lot of, I remember the event was halfway through and we finished putting the lights on the piece and we're like, okay, let's go enjoy. And by that point we were tired and we're like, okay, let's go walk around a little bit. So it felt like the event got cut short, but the part that was really fun, and I mean, it's really fun for us to build out there. It just felt like the build kept going and kept going, and no amount of going to camps where they give you showers took off that dust that kept coming. So in the end, it was pretty dusty, and there was a lot of working and working and working and work. That was our experience.
I
At
think,
least.
yeah, you definitely want to go in leaning into the discomfort, or, you know, if you are bringing art, that is part of your experience out there. It's not like you have a distinctive, like, okay, I bring the art, and then after that, I'm just a Burning Man participant, or like, that is it's part of your experience. So, you know, find people that if you're building with a crew, find people that you like building with and enjoy the experience of building out there. Whoever you're camping with should be people that you enjoy spending time with, that you enjoy going through difficult moments with, and who respond well to like crises and whatever it might be. But, you know, it's all of whatever the work is that you're doing out there should be an enjoyable part of the
Yeah.
experience as well.
And remind me again, how long is the event?
So the event is about a week. It's a little longer than a week. And then if you're bringing art, you have work access passes for usually a couple days before the start of the event. And then you might be staying a day or 2 or 3 after the end of the event. So most artists or camp builders end up staying about 2 weeks in total.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. 2 weeks without accommodation?
You have the accommodations. I mean, I guess there are some people who can find really more accommodation heavy camps. That is an option if you're willing to pay for it. But for the most part, yeah, you've got what you've got. And there are ways, you know, there are camps where you can get showers if you don't have a shower. There are obviously camps where you can get a lot of food and alcohol and stuff. But yeah, you're gonna sleep in what you bring and yeah.
Oh, I think that's a wonderful experience. Nancy, Elena, tell us about your experience. How was the whole event for you?
Okay, I'll go. So yes, I agree with Rick and Caroline, right? Caroline. It was slightly different. By Wednesday, we're all like, "Oh my gosh, is this the event, or are we still building?" Like everything felt like in the build mode still, which has never felt like that for me before. And I also went with the camp, which means I went there. I arrived Wednesday morning before the event starts, so it's like a whole week before, I guess, essentially, to build the camp and then build my art too. So it was like, I mean, all of us, I feel, builders, we do that anyway. Whether we bring our art or not, we build something, right? Whether it's camp or art or both. But yeah, I go to Burning Man to be uncomfortable. I go to Burning Man to push my limits and to learn something new. And I strive in that environment where things are challenging, I guess. Hence, being an artist, circus artist for over 15 years. It's like living with discomfort pretty much. It's addictive. I love it. I'm addicted to Burning Man. um, but yeah, and when you bring art, it absolutely is part of your Burning Man experience. I had to continuously check on it and make sure it's working, the lights are working, the batteries are swapped. If the thing's torn, I have to come there with a sewing needle and make sure to sew everything. So it becomes part of your experience. And it's really rewarding to come over to turn your lights and see that people enjoying my swing. And at the end, when I was deinstalling it, there was a person who saw me disassemble it, and they came over and took a nice little photo, of Polaroid photo, and thanked me because he told me that he was really lost the night of the temple burn, which is the last night, and he kind of felt lost and not sure where to go, who to talk to. And he sat on the swing looking at the man, and people came over, and he made some friends at my swing, and it did exactly what I basically wanted it to do, to bring people together and make them feel comfortable and huddled like my mother.
Oh,
Yeah, and so yeah, that was my experience this year. Overall, it was really spiritual, and I would say life-changing experience, meeting really, really cool people and kind of realizing um, life trajectory, taking this different space and place that I thought I was on. So very spiritual, very, yeah, life-affirming and changing experience.
that's beautiful. I have heard a lot of people who've attended Burning Man and have had an experience to where it just kind of opened up a new door for them. That's so beautiful. Nancy, how about you tell us more of your experience?
Yeah, it was, friends when I got back had been asking like, "How was Burning Man?" And the first things out of my mouth is, "It was a lot. It was a lot this year." Um, yeah, echoing what both of all three of you said before, it was that build, rebuild. We had some amazing moments. Like we camped with a small 20-person camp, all close friends, stay in touch year round. And to have those moments of, 10 of us hanging on our camp shade structure for 2 hours during the heavy winds, like that kind of bonding, helping each other get things put back together is pretty life affirming when you think about it, and that, you know, what you can do, what you can get through. It was, yeah, it was a different rhythm for me this year. There was a lot more day exploring, partly because we were going out and checking our solar lights on our piece, you know, earlier in the day, and then checking on it in the evening. But then it was just a lot of reconnecting with people we've met at the burn through the years. And it was really nice people year this year, making some new connections, and going out of our way to spend time with people from other camps that we've known. You're just stopping in, finding people, talking to people. We're running into people out deep playa that my partner had known for years. Suddenly, you know, her friend Benny was pulling up to the same art piece. So there was a lot of those kind of moments. It was definitely a good people connection kind of year for me.
That's awesome. And it's always fun to find friends at unexpected places, right? So bumping into your friends at an event like that is really magical. Um, so while you're all there, were there any obstacles you faced? I know I asked this question earlier, but that was, you know, before the event. Now, during the event, was there anything, um, any issues that you want to share that maybe our viewers would want to know about before before they think of, you know, participating in Burning Man? Is there anything that maybe they should look out for, or not
I mean,
really?
I
It was
think, oh,
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, like partly about the preparation, you know, being prepared for everything, and then things pop up, but then having the flexibility and the wherewithal to kind of shift or pivot, and just know that things are going to happen, but you're also there to problem solve as you go. Like 2 years ago, when we brought the big octopus and it turned into a kite during one of the big windstorms in the middle of the week, luckily before the rain, so we got it down before the rain. Um, you know, just a couple of bolts didn't hold right, and we're about to chase our giant octopus across the playa. So, you know, but we realized we just needed to take it down. We put up a different piece around where our generator was, and went with it.
So
I
just
think
definitely ready for the flow, right? Just ready to shift gears. Sorry, Rick, go ahead.
I think you have to be aware of Murphy's Law when you're out there, and just expect all of the things that could happen will happen. In our case, we needed to weld a little small thing uh, that we hadn't prepared before. And we're like, okay, we're mentally prepared to weld in the desert, which requires a generator, grounding, plug, all of these things. And we had them, we thought. And of course, none of it worked. So that then involves going and meeting the person who has the right plug, who has the right grounding cable. But turns out the grounding cable isn't there, so you have to improvise with a screwdriver and just put it on the dirt. All of these things happen, and whereas welding would take you 5 minutes in the real world, you have to be prepared for welding to take 3.5 hours of
Oh, wow.
meeting 17 different people. And this guy has the plug, but in order to get it, you have to go and, oh, the wind is coming. So you have to help him while you're there. And by the time you get the plug, you get to the welding camp and the person is gone. So you have to wait another hour. Everything will happen. And that's a part of the magic. You can't say to the desert, hey, I'm going to be doing this thing right now. The desert will tell you when you're going to be doing the thing, and you're
Right.
just there as a spectator.
Yeah. I
I
think,
definitely hear that.
yeah, and I think, you know, obviously living in Las Vegas, like we know heat, we understand that you have to be, you know, you have to work in the hours that you're able to work in. But I do think a lot of people go into Burning Man with like a work plan in their brain that is very ambitious And really, you have to just kind of understand that the work will get done. It might take a little while. You need to build in breaks for the heat, breaks for the weather, whatever it might be. But you can't force it. It takes the amount of time it's gonna take.
And also, you have to be open to see what the world is going to give you. At the end there, we couldn't get the lights working and we couldn't get the lights working. And we had a lot of brains on it. And we were all thinking, how do we get these lights to turn on? And we said, why don't we get someone who knows capacitors and copper wire installations? We're like, yeah. And this lady shows up next to our build and she goes, hi. And we say, we're kind of busy here with lights. And she's like, well, I can help you. I'm an electrical engineer. We're like,
Wow.
oh, these things happen.
That's
Client
wonderful.
provides. I quickly wanted to chime in and just say a really simple thing, is that when I installed my piece here in Las Vegas with perfect conditions, it looked so beautiful and bright and clean and, not wet, obviously. And then when I got there, after the storm hit and after I installed it, I heard, oh, there's a rain warning. And I think on Tuesday night we got the rain, I believe. And I came to see my piece after it dried out, and it was like, dirty and dusty, and I don't want to say ripped, but kind of some places were. And I was like, oh, okay, this is fine. This is fine. So letting go of expectations, as everybody already mentioned, but even just aesthetically, I guess expectations are out of the window at this point. So, yeah.
You just got to do what you got to do and improvise, right? All right. So, before we get into the end of the event, how about we go over everyone's artwork? I'd like to share some of your photos. I believe Nancy sent me a video as well. Let's start with Lena. Do you have yours? I don't think you sent me any photos. Do you want to start with yours first?
Yeah,
Uh,
I can do that. If that's
Sure.
cool.
Go ahead and share your photos
Mhm.
and then tell us more about your installation itself,
Okay.
what it's made of, why you made it, the meaning, if there is any, give us the info. Go ahead.
Okay. Sounds good. And here we go. Can you all see my screen?
Yes,
Sorry.
we see it now.
Yes? Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. All right. So it started with idea of having a bench, and I went into AI. Unfortunately, I didn't want to use it, but I kind of had to. And I just entered a few prompts, and it gave me this really lovely images of um, benches with boobies on it. So this is kind of how it started. And this is my image that I used essentially for at the listing of Burning Man art. This is the image that I used. But how it ended was here. Just a second, takes a little bit. So this is the final product before it got wet and muddy. I used lots of yarn to make this blanket over here. Also forgot to mention this. There's a person who reached out to me, Debbie Pierce. She is a lactation practitioner, lactation nurse, and she had a few boobies that she donated to me, as well as another friend of mine who crochets. So they helped to crochet some of the boobies. But as you can see, there's boobies. They're kind of covered here by fabric, so there's boobies everywhere on the inside. Yeah, and this blanket took about a month and a half. So everything was crocheted by hand, mostly by me. The shade fabric here I also made by hand. I used my sewing machine, and then just attached pink fabric here on the straps to cover the guidelines to the floor that we talked about, anchoring your art piece down. So these were the guidelines to help to anchor it down. Here's another image. And then I wanted to share a little video of kind of like the final product. Sorry, it takes a second for it to open up. And here is the video of it. Just as I installed it again, everything is nice and clean, no dirt on it. Everything worked. There weren't lights installed yet on this. I installed them that evening, but there were lights around the structure as well. So it's a nice little. I love how the wind looked good. Like the wind looked good on fabric. I really enjoyed that part. So yeah, this is how it ended up looking.
That's
And those.
beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, this is kind of going on the inside and showing you all the boobs. By the end, that right side swinging boobs, it was gone. Someone ripped it off. So we're talking about,
Oh,
yeah. And this is another image that I filmed of myself. Couple of days. This is already, I think it was already pretty dirty at that point. But yeah, this is fun little project.
it looks gorgeous out there.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's so
Awesome.
colorful and it looks it looks comfortable to sit in as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are you doing with the piece now? Is it just in storage? Do you just have it sitting around?
Great question. It's actually sitting in my backyard. It fits perfectly uh, with my color palette. I love colorful things, so it's just sitting in my backyard. I'm using it daily and enjoy it daily, basically.
Beautiful. And your installation, it really reflects you as a cirque performer. It has the
Yeah.
element of the swings and all of the beautiful colors and fabric. I love
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else you want to share about your installation before we move to the next one?
I believe that's all I wanted to share. Thank
Okay.
you so
All
much.
right.
Yeah.
And well, I'll get to that later. Nancy, do you want me to share your photos now? Do you want to talk a little bit more about your artwork and then let me know which video you'd like or which photo you'd like me to share?
Yeah, I can just do a quick overview. So like I mentioned, we used recycled convention fabrics. There were these quarter circle, like giant sail kind of structures that had been meant for some convention, some conference somewhere, with these beautiful ombre colors. So we turned them into cardinal gates, a piece that's about direction and travel at time, how time travels across the sky. They become these beautiful sundials out there because we set them up in the cardinal direction, so east, west, and north, south. And the way they catch the sun out there creates a whole other experience on the ground. We also meant for them to be a space. So last year we brought 4 panels out. When we submitted the honorarium application, we were thinking about trying to do 32 and making more of the fabric so we could have like a bigger field of these colors. And then we ended up narrowing it down to 16. And my partner came up with this configuration, this sacred geometry configuration, where you could still go in and out of them. You could sit in them. They would catch the shadows. So this is close to what we'd planned. And then I think the next picture of just the single block, I think the rest of the pictures show what we put up this year because of the placement issues. So we came up with our own folklore of the colors of the directions and the sky colors and what they meant to us and things. So this is what we ended up building this year, just 4 squares. There's our misplaced floof in the middle of it. Partly why we decided to go with this tight configuration is that our placement was so close to a big sound camp that we were pretty afraid it was going to get used as a bike rack or a porta potty, because the panels would create these nice little spaces in there, which there was some evidence that it was, despite our best efforts to keep people out. So this is it. It was right off of the 230 road, right in the middle of the road. You can see the man in the background. Sorry, it's kind of a blurry picture. But we really love the pop of color, kind of like Lena's piece. You know, there's a lot of pieces that are metal and wood out there, and then just the overlying, everything becomes playa colored. So we really wanted to infuse some color and kind of a sense of sanctuary.
I think we have a couple more pictures before the video. We have this one,
Yeah,
and then we have this
so
one.
it was a simplified version of what we planned to do.
Can I ask a quick question?
And we just
I'm sorry. Did you dye the fabric yourself?
no, this is how these convention banners came. So there were these different sizes. I think the shortest ones were like 5 feet, and then there were some that were maybe 10 feet tall in quarter circle shape that had meant to be like sails, I think, background sails, kind of arches, Sydney Opera House kind of shapes. So the banners came like that, and then we just chose where to cut the gates out of to go along with our color theory and the directions.
Oh, and here is the video. Let me turn it down a little bit here.
Oh yeah, I think this is when one of the storms was coming in. So yeah, next year we want to bring it back with the bigger spacement. So it'll probably be like 30-foot by 30-foot experience that you can go in, place to hang out, place to find shade. But we were able, the flags, we were able to do the same fabric on the front and the back. So they're two-sided. They're big kind of giant pillowcases that go on over conduit that are held down by rebar.
And I'm sorry, Nancy, did you say that this was your final site, or was this the site that you began at?
This was, well, both. This was the site
okay.
that we were told we had to install something until we installed this. And then they came back and said, I think on Tuesday, they said we could move. We'd been approved to move.
Okay.
But, you know, we'd already rebuilt camp a few times, and we didn't have any, we had some extra rebar, but not enough to replace the 8 pieces we put in. And so we just decided to leave this up.
It's beautiful. The color really pops out against all of that dirt. Is that sand? Is it more sand, the ground over there?
It's dust, so it's like an ancient seabed. So
Okay.
it's more, yeah, it's not sand, it's more
Okay.
dust.
It's like a lake bed, almost kind of caked on,
But yeah,
right?
bed.
Okay.
So it gets nice and slippery and gooey when it gets wet.
Right. Oh, wow. That's a that's something to think about when it rains, right?
Yeah, and after one of the dust storms, Lena mentioned this as well. We went out and it was like the panels were gray.
Oh,
So we had to scrape them off. You know, it's part of it. Like we had to scrape them
yeah.
off, clean them, and shake them off. So
Oh, but I bet it was fun seeing that thing in the wind.
yeah, it was cool.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I don't know if there's any other pictures, but yeah, that was our
I think
simple set.
I think that's all you gave me. That's all you sent for me, unless you have more that you'd like to share on your end.
I think I'd sent that video, and maybe there was another one from another angle showing some of the other colors.
Let's see what I have. I have this one, that one, the inside, the outside, and there's another. And I think that those were the only ones you sent over besides the video.
Yeah. But yeah, originally we had a plan to, you know, map out these east-west guidelines and spacing to get the sacred geometry, and we had everything ready to go. So next year.
Oh, that would be lovely. So you are planning on participating next year also?
Yeah, that's the plan because like it's hard to not think about, or it's hard to think about not going back. I don't know how many negatives are in there, but can't imagine not.
Well, yeah, it's sounding like everyone who's ever attended the Burning Man just tends to want to always go back. There's something about it that you just want to keep going back to. I
Either
love
that or
that.
you really don't.
Oh, so if you have
But
a
yeah,
really bad experience, then you probably won't be back. Well, fingers crossed.
yeah.
I am planning on going next year, and I'm hoping that it'll be an exciting one to where I do get addicted to Burning Man.
Are you bringing any art, Eileen?
I have to be honest. I am one of those artists who hesitate when it comes to bringing projects out of my comfort zone, and this is definitely out of my comfort zone. Um, I don't know, maybe just as a viewer this time, just to see how it is. I heard that it's such a large place that it does take the whole week to even come close to seeing everything. So I think I just want to spend the whole week experiencing as much as I can.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
will
Well,
never
Caroline
see
and Rick,
everything. You will never see everything. It's
that's
impossible.
what I heard. That's what I heard. You will never see everything. It's such a large place. But maybe next year will be my first time going, and I'll try as much as I can, and then that'll give me an excuse to go back the next year. Try to finish up and see everything else. All right. Well, Rick and Caroline, let's take a look at your piece. Um, there's a little bit of a heavy weight at the end. I know, I feel it, but let's talk about your piece from
Yeah, I believe we sent you some pictures that you
you
could
did.
show. I hope you got them.
Yes, let me pull those up.
Yep. And in the meantime, I can kind of explain the philosophy behind the piece.
Sure,
Um,
yes, go for it.
we were, I was. It's weird when you want to do big art and you get the idea first of what it's gonna look like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go, but why do I want to say this? And one of the things that I really wanted to show was the way things don't last, the way things are ephemeral, and how time passes, and it deletes even the mightiest of kings, or even the most powerful of people get toppled, and then eventually they will be forgotten. Most of us will be, I think. And there's this poem that explains this very well. It's called Ozymandias, and it talks of a traveler who's walking through the desert in what used to be King Ramses's domain. Uh, and all of this land belonged to him once, and all of these statues belong to him. And there's nothing left but sand. And one of the last things that remains is his head and a pair of legs that can barely stand because they're completely destroyed. And it talks about how he was never going to be forgotten. Look at my empire and weep. This is it was his life's grandiose, and hundreds of years later you can just see the ruins of what a great empire used to be, and no one remembers even his name. And I thought, it's kind of adequate for the political situation worldwide. We're in a time of ego, and soon it'll all be forgotten, I hope. And this is what I came up with. It's a giant head with a crown that lights up. It's all welded aluminum tube, 1 inch aluminum tube. Um, and you can scroll through the pictures. This is a picture I took of some lovers that were just on top of it, having a really good time during the sunset. And I just thought I needed to take that picture. But it also lights up at night. Uh, in the early morning, it looked shiny. It looked, because it doesn't exist anymore. It was. I think it's pretty ironic that I was trying to represent something that fades and gets destroyed, and it ended up getting destroyed. It's funny how that happens.
I'm trying to get your other photo in. I think you only sent me 3. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the third one is Rick on top of the sculpture.
Right, the daytime one, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Pop it up here.
Yeah, and so it was designed with the idea of being climbable in mind. The piece that Rick did in 2023 was climbable, and that was like a really fun thing for us to have out there. Like last year we brought an inflatable which was not supposed to be climbed, so it just created this kind of like stressful week of trying to keep people off the piece and then just being resigned to the fact that they were going to be on the piece. So we like the idea of creating something again that was intended to be enjoyed in that way. And basically every time we would come up to the sculpt, the base of the head itself was all installed before the event, before the wind and everything. The lights took a little bit longer, but already since we had that out there, like pretty much anytime we would come out to do work on the sculpture or just to, check on it, there would be people up there kind of just hanging out. One time we came out in like early in the morning and there was a guy who'd been there since sunrise. I think he spent something like 2 or 3 hours just on top of the sculpture.
And apparently he got really good phone signal there.
Oh, wow.
So at one point he's like, wow, this is a really good place to get signal. And he started calling his family, and he had conference calls there, and he just spent hours there. So that was also a fun part of it.
Yeah. And obviously like the logistics are pretty complicated with a larger piece. Like this was designed to split into 2 halves and then be transported on a flatbed, just with those 2 halves. And then when we got to Burning Man, it had to be unloaded with a variable forklift that just picked up the 2 sides and helped us position them and bolt them together. So, it's not the most complicated build in the world, but it's also, that's another challenge that you kind of have to deal with anytime you have heavy equipment. You have to coordinate with the organization to be able to get it out to your site, and it's a whole it takes time. You have to be really patient and just kind of wait for them to send the machines out to you. And then same thing at the end of the event, you have to get out there and just wait for the machines to show up. So that's definitely kind of a challenge. Yeah.
So do they provide these machines for you? You have to request for them? Okay.
Yes. So anyone who has applied in advance to bring art has access to the art support services, and that includes heavy equipment and machinery. It's best to also, when you're submitting your request to bring out art, to indicate already that you want heavy equipment. And then when you get to Burning Man, basically you're given, you check in, they'll show you where your art is going to go. They take you out there. And then when you are actually ready to use the heavy equipment, you go contact them and they will tell you to wait at your site until it shows up. So sometimes that can be an hour, sometimes that can be 3 hours. There's no communications out there. You can't like call them to ask for updates. You have to just wait at your site until your machines show up. And there are some people who have incredibly, like, they need a crane for 2 days straight to be able to do their piece. That just has to be coordinated and kind of planned for in advance.
Yeah, I've seen some really, really massive installations there. I've always wondered, like, how did they get it there? How did they install it in the middle of nowhere? How did they get these equipments out there? It's really nice to know that they provide that as well.
They do. And you can even, I will add, so yeah, this is all the process for applying for artwork. You mentioned Luis Varela Rico, who is kind of the first person who introduced you to Burning Man.
Right.
He got the idea to bring a piece of artwork out there a week before Burning Man, and he did it. Anybody can bring artwork. You're considered a walk-in artist if you do that. So if you have art, anyone can just show up with their art.
Yep.
The one complicated thing is you won't have access to art support services. That's really the only thing that it changes. But yeah, anyone can just show up and go to check-in and say, I have artwork, and then they'll find a place to put you on the map. And if you're self-sufficient, you can just go and do it yourself.
Yep.
The other, I guess another example of that, there are some people, for instance, who bring artwork as walk-ins and they provide their own machines because they don't want to have to deal with Burning Man. There was a big FU Elon sign that was up out there this year. That no one applied to do that. Someone just showed up with that artwork and drove it out there. And I guess they must have had a forklift or something and they just placed it themselves. So yeah, there will always kind of be a roundabout way of making things happen if you haven't gone through the correct channels, but it's definitely easier to go through the correct channels.
Right. Okay. Well, it's not so it's not so difficult trying to be part of this event, pretty much. Okay.
No,
I kind of like that.
That's wild. I didn't know it was just a random art piece. I stumbled upon it. It's really cool. It's really big.
Yeah, it was really.
Impressive.
I
They
only
did it
learned that.
themselves.
Yeah, I learned that at the very end of the event, and it kind of changed how I saw the piece. Yeah, they just showed up with it.
Wow, incredible.
That's crazy. All right. Well, wow, it's a beautiful piece. Everyone had a beautiful piece. I think all of your installations were wonderful. Facing those types of challenges, I mean, being public artists, you already have to face certain challenges working out in the public, outdoors, having to face the weather and other people, strangers. But in a setting like this, where it can I say that it's much more controlled than if you were to be doing a public art piece, let's say in town? Or is it more of a open type of event, really?
I mean,
I think.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, just the times I've delved into public art in the city, I think there's different controls and different channels, different sets of safety rules. Like, they were mentioning if your piece is over 10 feet, there's a whole engineering safety plan that needs to go into it. If you're doing fire art or anything with fire, there's a whole other set of safety rules. But then it's I don't know, it's probably similar but different for the amount of regulations and rules and bureaucracy of sort. But then there's also freedom to put a giant,
Right.
Elon sculpture.
Definitely.
I can't imagine a city green stamping to put in their, courthouse courtyard.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure. We would definitely not allow something like that. And you had something you wanted to add, Caroline, to that?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I think that the organization does a really good job of helping artists manage risk and manage challenges in a way that's kind of uniquely adapted to Burning Man. So like what I mean with that is there is artwork that could be viewed as dangerous. The way that people are going to use it could be dangerous. They could fall off of it. They might get some scrapes and things. And those are all things that I think would not be allowed to be installed in a public environment, like in a city or wherever it might be. It's what Burning Man wants to be sure about is that the artwork is not going to hurt someone in a way that they couldn't have anticipated. So, if you see a big sculpture that's tall and you decide to climb it and you fall off of it, that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure, something isn't going to collapse on someone so it's well engineered, it's well thought out. Artists need to have an idea in their head already of how their art's going to be used and whether it's safe to be used in that way. But they do have some leeway to allow for uses that probably wouldn't be okay in like another public art space.
Right. Oh no, I believe that. I've heard stories of years ago. Burning Man has been going on for quite a long time from what I've researched. And when it first started, there were no rules. And there were a lot of really dangerous installations and happenings, and it was just really wild. So to hear that there's all these policies and regulations now. I mean, it's a good thing for sure, you know, to cover everyone. Um, yeah, and for it to have those rules and regulations and have it a family friendly sort of event is very big. It's, you know, they don't usually have family friendly events that are like that. So yeah, actually, that is another question I'd like to ask. Is this a family friendly event? I have heard that it is, and I have heard that people have brought their children also. But in your opinion, do you think it is a pretty family friendly event?
I would
Yeah,
say it depends on family.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Like it doesn't go out of its way to be family friendly, but you know, families are definitely there, and there's kids camps, and there's the kids that were camped across from us. I think they were like 5 and 6, and this was their 6th and 7th burn.
Oh, wow.
Like they went there when they were pregnant and have been going there every year. You know, they were running around like crazy, happiest kids I've seen in a long time. So, but at the same time, there's not family specific or age specific editing in the content of what you see out there.
Mhm.
So there's, you know, you could be walking down the street and see just about anything.
Right.
And
So
so
set your own discretion.
I would say it depends on the family. Yeah.
And there's a Kidsville too. There's a area where kind of like families tend to congregate, not necessarily. Some families camp whenever, whatever. But yeah, there's a Kidsville area with families.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's so nice. I love that. Well, see, now that's more reason for me to go. I have 3 little boys that would love to go out there and check this out. So maybe
Oh,
I'll
it's
bring
the
my kiddos along.
funnest. It's the funnest place on earth for kids. It's like just anything and everything you can imagine or even can't is there. So it's so good for their imagination. I think if you grew up, I actually have a friend who grew up as a he wasn't a kid when he went there. I think he was like a teenager, but he
Mhm.
essentially grew up on Burning Man culture, and he's one of the best humans I know. When they grow up, knowing that this place exists is just it's magic.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah, definitely. See, it's every time I talk to Burning Man participants, I get more and more excited to go. So thank you. Um, okay, well, those were really amazing information and feedback. Now let's get to, it's already 4:30. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's get into what was your procedure after the event? Um, After everything is well and done, and now you're uninstalling. How does that look for you as an artist, having an installation to have to put away? Because that is another question that happens to pop up a lot is what do you do with your artwork afterwards? Anyone who want to get started on this question? Because
Ooh, well,
We
yeah, it's
for
a
us,
big question.
for us, it's a pretty long story.
we've done, yeah. I would just add before Rick gets into it. Um, we have done 2 very successful, wonderful exits from Burning Man, and now we have had
The-
probably the worst
worst.
possible series of events when leaving Burning Man. So you know, sometimes it's really smooth, and sometimes it's catastrophic and chaotic, and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so one of our sculptures is going to El Paso next month for a small showing. The other one from 2 years ago now has found a home in Arizona, so that's really nice. We were not sure where this one was going to go, but we had some plans and some ideas. But of course, in a very desertic way, the ideas didn't pan out. Our sculpture was stolen and our trailer as well. So now we're dealing with that, which is a whole new world, seeing about insurance, seeing about what happens from here, whether there's camera footage, who's responsible, all of these things. You know, every year there's a new lesson.
Oh, definitely. I believe that. And what is the status of your piece now?
destroyed, 60% destroyed or stolen. We have a very small part of it that's here. We're at the convention center right now.
Okay.
We were picking it up. Picking up the remains of the sculpture. There's a small part of it that's still alive, but it's completely structurally compromised. The thieves that stole the trailer and the other part of the sculpture also cut with power tools a big part of it. So now I don't know which wells to trust, which wells are compromised, which ones are completely gone. So it's going to storage for the next couple of months until we figure it completely out. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
this all happened while in an event storage to be shown in Reno. So now it's going into a storage unit. Like the remains of it are going to a storage unit in Reno.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's horrible. I'm
Yeah,
just glad that it was after the event and, no
We're
one was
really happy
hurt.
about that too. It did its thing. It was as good as I thought it was going to be. I was really surprised at seeing it and seeing the result. I was really excited about it. But that's art sometimes. You never know where it's going to take you, and this time it took us down a really dark route, but we're there and we're figuring it out. And that's another part of it. You have to figure out all of the consequences of what you build.
Yeah, we're definitely not the first artists to have Burning Man work lost or destroyed. I will say it's a little bit difficult having the human element of it because I think like a weather event or something kind of chaotic and universal would feel more palatable than
Oh yeah, for sure.
that really sucks. Yeah, it feels pretty bad, but yeah.
So on to the next artist, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. That's all we got to do, right? We just got to move on and on to the next project.
Yep.
Well, I hope that you find some sort of closure for that. Figure out everything that you need to figure out in order to feel a little more light-chested about the whole situation.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there at some
Yeah,
point.
definitely. And I'm excited to see another piece from you all for next year. So, and I'm sure it's going to be massive. No,
That was our last one. That was it.
no way.
We say that every year. This year we might mean it, but we'll never know.
That's true. Well, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you guys will be back because I definitely enjoy seeing your pieces out
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see how it goes.
there. Nancy, how about you? What do you do with your artwork after an event like this? Where
Yeah,
does it
well,
go?
we were planning on taking it to Synergy, the Las Vegas regional burn,
Mhm.
and installing it there in early October. But we just we do a lot of work on film and TV, so just got a project that popped up in Cleveland. So instead of taking it to Beatty, we are flying to Cleveland. But the colors are so beautiful. I'd love to try to figure out how to string it from the ceiling in my shop. Like I mentioned, we want to bring it back next year.
Mhm.
So the panels that we're out this year, we'll wash and clean and get new rebar and assess everything. So yeah, we're planning on taking it out next year, and then I'm already starting to think about 2027 and maybe bringing back the big neon octopus with some neon sea creature friends. So at least this kind of gives me 2 years to really plan for that bigger piece, and then I'm already thinking of some other elements I might want to add next year to this piece, seeing how it went this year. So,
And where's
yeah,
the
but for right now,
octopus right now?
on a shelf in the shop.
Oh,
Thank you.
Put a little arrow on some of them because the
Box, yeah.
rendering is so bad,
Yeah. So,
Okay, cool. Nice.
just on
Nice
a couple
touch.
of
sorry about that. Let
them.
me
Yeah, because the render.
stop sharing here. All right, sorry about that, Nancy. I just had to stop sharing so we could see your face when you're talking. But that sounds wonderful that you're already planning for the next couple of years. Very excited about that. Um, and yeah, okay, so you are bringing is it gonna be the complete set this time, or are you just doing that one piece again? Oh, you're on mute, Nancy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, our intention is to set up the full 16 panels. So, we would love to see it up where it should be out there. So
Oh, that's
we'll
awesome.
have a lot more on placement ahead of time. I thought we'd had enough thorough discussions about it needs to be out off of
Yeah.
145, but it didn't happen. So yes, so the intent is next year, all 16 panels and the full sacred geometry setup. So
Well, I wish you lots of luck that you're able to find a good spot for that next year. I really look forward to seeing the whole thing. That's going to be exciting.
yeah.
Lena, well, you did tell us where the swing ended up. It's in your backyard right now being enjoyed, right?
Yeah.
Is this your first large installation of any kind?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay. So you're not too aware of the sculptor's issue of where to put your finished product after you're done with them.
Excuse me. No, it's true. Yeah. I mean, I've always thought about it because I mean, I've seen a bunch of pieces in Reno
Yeah.
after, the Burning Man is done. You see them everywhere. You see them, some of them in Vegas too. We have a bunch of pieces in Vegas. In the Mothership Coffee in Arts District, there's the truck. I forgot what's it called, but it's two trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you see them everywhere, and of course I see them around. I'm like, oh, Burning Man, oh, that's what they do with the artworks. I always think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah, it's in my backyard, and I might bring it back. Maybe not on Playa next year, but like maybe in the camp or in the kind of camp area.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't thought about art for next year, and I know I'm going. I don't know to what capacity. Meaning, am I going to be an artist? Am I going to be a builder for camp? Am I going to be maybe? I actually was thinking building temple at some point, or helping build the temple, not like being the artist for the temple. Not yet. We're not there yet, but I want to participate in the build of the temple at some point because I think it's a beautiful. This year, temple burn and temple in general was so profound to me. As I said, it was a really spiritual burn, and so I wanted to give maybe in that way. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah,
That
Lena
sounds
just brought
amazing.
up a great, like, if you're an artist and you want to participate, you don't have to necessarily bring your own piece. There's the temple, there's the man. They're always looking for build crews. There's other artists that reach out. There's a website connection page through the org for art teams looking for help build week in town. So there's a lot of opportunities to help out with other pieces.
And
Okay.
there's DPW.
What is that? Tell me more.
DPW is a department where they basically build all the initial and essential infrastructure like power grid and spires and roads and bathrooms. So it's a team that goes out there month or 2 months even ahead, and trash fence everything that gets built. It's a DPW team, so that's something also to look at into.
That's
They brought
amazing.
too. They had an artwork out there
That's right.
in their own.
And it's crazy that they're able to just clean up this whole area like nothing was ever there. It's insane. That's a massive job for sure. All right. Well, I think that was a lot of our questions. Um, the last thing I do want to ask everyone is if you have any advice on for artists who are thinking of participating or even just thinking of checking it out, like me. Do you have do you have any advice for us out there?
I would I would just take a lot of water. Water is important. Food, take half of what you think you need. And I think that's what I would say. We always end up with a lot of food at the end, but not enough water. So I think that's kind of
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
would just echo exactly what Nancy said, which is if you can find a way to get involved, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've also met people who have volunteered on builds but haven't yet been to Burning Man, but it's just a way for them to kind of start dipping their toe into figuring out, what is the community about? What does it look like to build this kind of artwork? So don't feel like you have to, like it's all or nothing. If you get a chance to kind of start experiencing the Burning Man community, or if you get a chance to go on a build crew, whatever it might be, I think it's great to get those first experiences and then kind of start building from there.
Awesome.
I would say if you think you want to go and that's a place you feel called to be at, then do it. Like do it at least once and do some planning, talk to people, find some folks, get involved somehow. Yeah, all those things. Or
That's
just go by
wonderful.
yourself. On the way in, we met this deaf man that was coming from Virginia by himself in his van. He was just going to solo camp, but had names of a couple of art projects he was going to try to connect with and help out however he could. But he was just doing it on the fly
Oh,
by
wow.
himself. So, there's all different kinds of paths.
When I had this project in my mind initially, I was just like, oh my God, there's so much to do. How do I figure out the light? And how do I bring the battery? Is it a battery? Is it a generator? There's so many questions. And I basically had this conversation with a friend who's been bringing an art car for years. I don't know if you guys seen it. It's a room. It's a rolling roller skate. Oh, it's wonderful. Her name is Jamie, and she's amazing. She lives here in Vegas. Incredible human. But talk to someone who has done it before. Find a friend online. Find a friend in your community, and talk. They have so much wisdom and so many advice. It makes it so much easier than sitting there like, how am I gonna do this? I've never done this before. It's so easy. Someone's like, just buy a battery, connect it to this, do that. It's easy. And they tell you it's easy, and you're like, oh, okay, it is easy. So you start believing it. At first, it's just such a mumbo jumbo of like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? So having someone just talking to who've done something like this before on whatever capacity, I think is really helpful.
That's a great point. And on that note, after this recording, we will be posting this on a webpage on Clark County's website. We will be putting your bios on there as well, and most likely your website link also. Would it be okay if local artists reach out and ask questions of you for regarding Burning Man? Okay, wonderful. So that is something that I will push artists to go check out. Let them know that you are all willing to answer questions if they do have any. That's always very helpful for the community.
absolutely.
What's that, Rick? Oh, okay. Well, let's see. I think we've covered everything. And then since it's already 4:45, I do want to jump on a few announcements before we close out. But before I do that, can you all tell me where we can find more of your artwork currently? Nancy, do you have anything out there right now that our attendees can go and check out?
I don't really. Like I have some costume pieces and some of the shows in town. Anything else? Yeah, nothing really out in the public.
Okay. And then I know that
Hopefully
you,
that'll change.
yeah, hopefully. And I know you've worked on sets and shows before. Can you tell us a little more about those so we can check them out?
Yeah, a lot of what I do is behind the scenes. I do some production design, some costuming. So yeah, it's hard to say like go watch this show, you'll see
Right.
my thing. Um, but there's
Can we
but yeah,
see
you just
those
have to come to
things
commit.
off of your website? Is there things that we can check out on your website?
There should be. I'm looking for a good website designer to redo my website. So yeah, but I'm always open to private commissions and custom projects too. So, oh, I know one of the things that I did recently, the swingers mini golf at Mandalay Bay,
Oh,
um, was a key part of all the floral install. And then we also created all these sets of swags and curtains and drapes for inside that space. So that's probably one of my bigger public pieces that you can go. There's like millions of flowers, faux flowers that we installed to create these British garden landscapes on these 4 mini golf courses. So
oh, that's gorgeous. I'm gonna have to check that out. Thank you.
yeah, and it's a fun place to go for a round of mini golf.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Lena, do you have any art out there right now that we can go check out?
I don't, unfortunately. The only art I share is my circus aerial videos, which is also art, but very different form. So unfortunately, I don't.
Well, do you have a website that we can go check out those performances or?
I have Instagram. I scrubbed my site because I kind of am transitioning into a different career path at some point soon. So I kind of, yeah, I erased it essentially. But yeah, I use Instagram, which is at at Lena Alani. Um, yeah, Instagram is the best bet, I guess.
Okay, well, we'll make sure to put your Instagram on
Okay,
the webpage so they can reach out to you.
great.
And just a quick fun fact, Lena performed in the Beatles Cirque,
Yeah.
which is now gone, unfortunately, but I think that was one of the best shows I've seen.
Oh,
So
thank
thank
you.
you
I
for
do
that,
agree.
Lena. I'm a big fan, so thank you. And Caroline and Rick, where can we find some artwork of you guys right now?
Um, you will be seeing Caroline's Banana in a festival in El Paso on October 13th, if I'm not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the weekend of, I think it's the 10th to the 13th of October.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
my axolotl from 2 years ago will be showing semi-permanently at the Bisbee Museum of Science in Bisbee, Arizona.
Oh,
And you can always check my website.
oh, I think you got cut off, Rick. But yeah, yes, you're correct. We can always check the website. All of his artwork's there. You can also check out his Instagram. Also, a lot of amazing artwork there. And Caroline, I am excited about that banana. I am a big banana fan, so I love that piece from the picture you sent me. It's beautiful. I can't wait to see it in person, hopefully
Thank
one
you.
day.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, this is the first time that I install it since Burning Man, so I'm excited to have it doing something.
Yeah. And where has it been sitting, if you don't mind me asking, before this?
It's an inflatable, so it's pretty easy to store,
Oh.
and it's actually where we've been doing our builds. It's behind
Mhm.
Gallery in North Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's all packed up, so you can't really see it.
Oh, that's awesome. It's inflatable, so you just kind of got to fold it up and put it away. I
Yeah,
Yep.
love it. That is great. Easy peasy.
yeah, easy transport and easy storage.
Yeah, you're telling me. I love that idea. All right. Well, thank you so much, speakers. We went through all of our questions, but I am going to jump into my announcements really quick. I noticed we only have about 10 more minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll do some final words. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my where is my announcement? All right, here we go. All right, so full scope announcements for today. Our upcoming events for next month's full scope will be Tuesday, October 21st. Same place here at WebEx, but this time we will be doing it at 1 p.m. to accommodate our speakers because we have a speaker that will be out of the country during the workshop. Our speakers will be Amy Robles, Gabriela Nunez, and Janaea Sanchez, and they will be talking about public art on public land. Our next event is our Art Committee Board monthly meeting. That will be next month, Tuesday, October 14th at 3:30 p.m. You can either join us through our WebEx link or you can come in person to our Clark County Parks and Recreation main building here at Sunset Park. We also have some temporary installations out right now. Dog Island is on display at Bob Price Park. It's a huge dog tag. I'm not sure where exactly it's located. I haven't gone there yet, but it's somewhere inside Bob Price Park. The other one is called Touchdown. This is on display at the Cannon Middle School Park. That is very close to the airport. It's a small park over there, usually has soccer games going on, but when you drive by, you will see these big football-shaped benches inside there. They're wonderful. There's also another piece installed there. I believe you crank it and it makes music. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't checked it out myself yet, but if you have time before October 1st, please go ahead and check out these temporary installs that we have. Other events we have going on right now is Empowered Women of Clark County. This is at the Cora Coleman Senior Center, and it's on display until October 8th, 2025. These panels were developed for the 2025 Empowered Women of Clark County Art Exhibition by the Clark County Museum and historian Laura Ferguson. They now serve as a traveling educational experience. For our youth education, our next artist is Bailey Anderson, and she will be doing a workshop at Bob Price Community Center. Her workshop is called Superfan, and that will be September 20th, so sometime next week, I believe. And for our Pearson Gallery, we have Exploring Bold Colors in Nature from our artist Holly Hamilton. She has a workshop happening Saturday, October 18th from noon to 2 p.m. This reception will be on Thursday, October 23rd from 5:30 to 7:30, and this will be at the Pearson Recreation Center. At the Rotunda Gallery, tomorrow we will have a reception for My Immigrant Family. I believe that will be from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And it is an exhibition which will be on view until September 26th. At our Winchester Gallery, we currently have our full-on fantasy themed gallery show. The juror was Sarah Jean Odom. The reception for this will be September 25th, and it will be on view till that day as well. Winchester Gallery, we have our 24th annual Life and Death coming up. The reception is Saturday, November 1st, and we will be announcing our prices at 5 p.m. But the actual event is for both November 1st and November 2nd. The exhibition reception will be held November 1st. And then at the Wetlands Gallery, currently we have the In the Company of Animals, and that will be on view till November 1st, and that's inside the Wetlands Park Gallery. I believe we also have, we don't have the artist residency yet. I believe that's an opening. We also have Clark County Museum's Visions of the Past right now on view until October 4th, and we have a reception for that on October 24th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then let's get into a little bit of our art calls. We have our art call for the Wetlands Park, the annual temporary art exhibit. this would be great for our speakers to be involved with if you have some installations that you want to put up temporarily. The call opens in December 1st, it looks like. There will be a workshop on the 6th, and then the call closes in February. So they're seeking up to 10 artists for these installs. You're given a budget of $1,000 for each artist, and you pretty much just come up with some sort of installation, sculptural installation that you have to install at the Wetlands Park for, I believe, a couple of weeks they stay up there. So it's a great project. It's great if you're an entry level sculptor and you want to kind of try getting into projects where you're going to install large pieces out in the public. And also at the Wetlands Park, we have the Artist in Residence program. That call opens October 15 and closes in December. They're seeking artists to spend time at the wetlands and leave creating a work of art for the wetlands collection. You also get a budget of $2,600 for the entirety of the residency, which includes, I believe, workshops that you do with the community. And then at the end, you create something that you leave for the wetlands collection. So they'll be showing that indefinitely. And then we have our ZAP calls. ZAP calls are opening. I believe both of these just opened. ZAP 19 and 20. We're looking for artists as usual to design and paint utility boxes around town. ZAP 19, we're looking for 6 artists with a budget of $1,200 each to paint boxes at Tropicana and Boulder Highway area. And then the ZAP 20 Sunset Park is going to be a special edition ZAP. The budget for that is over $2,000 for each artist, since you'll be receiving multiple boxes for this one. And this one will be open for all experiences versus ZAP 19, which is only open for entry level and artists who's never done ZAP before. And then coinciding with our ZAP 20 Sunset Park project, we're also going to be celebrating our 20th anniversary of our ZAP program. And we are hoping to get a couple of live painters, community engagement artists, multiple art vendors to come and join and participate in the celebration. So more information about that will be coming out soon. And then we have our ongoing calls, a call for public art evaluators. If you've always wanted to see how things are on the other side of a public art project, this is a great experience for you. You don't have to have any sort of experience to be a project evaluator. You just have to be active in the art community and just volunteer. It's really just volunteer. It's not paid, but it is a good experience for artists to have a seat on the other side of projects. And then our other ongoing call is our call for qualifications. This is for a musicians list. We're always seeking talented musicians. And we pull from this list for our dedications and our events. We have them perform live in these events. So we always like to have a list of performers ready, and we utilize them a lot. We love having live performances during our events. And then we have other opportunities that you can check out that aren't from Clark County. We have the city of Las Vegas. They have a few current opportunities at the moment. They're looking for tile muralists. They also have a muralist list open right now. So if you're a muralist, this is definitely a good way to get projects, put your name on that list, and have your portfolio ready for mural projects. They also have the same program evaluator program, where you get to be on the other side of the project, where you're going to be the one evaluating everything. And then the next one is Lunar New Year exhibition, a year of the horse, and also guest curators for gallery exhibitions. We also have opportunities from Henderson, not at the moment, but if you go follow this link and just check it out every month, they will update with new opportunities all the time. And then last but not least, we have Nevada Arts Council. They always have grants open, ready for artists who needs funding. They also have a list of all the opportunities going on around Nevada, and sometimes I believe out of Nevada as well. They get opportunities posted, but it's a great website to find projects and opportunities and funding for any of your art. And then one last thing, this is our information here at County. We do offer one-on-one meetings for artists if you want to sit down and talk to one of our staff members about how to go about doing public art, putting your documents together, or reviewing it together, anything like that, we're able to help you with. Please give us a call or email us, sign up for our monthly newsletter. Let us know how we can help you. We're definitely here to do that. And that's all I have. I'm going to stop sharing here. We are at 5:01. I apologize for going over. But let's open it up for final words. Thank you so much for all your time. Do you have any final words for our viewers today before we close out the workshop?
I don't think so. This was really nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for organizing it, Eileen.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you all here with me.
Yeah, it was so
It's
nice
been,
meeting everyone.
yeah, it's been a great conversation, and hopefully we'll have you back again next year if you are going to be participating. If not, I'm excited to see your artwork around town, hopefully.
Great.
But
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, this was great.
yeah, thank you. Well, then, on that note, thank you so much for joining us today for Full Scope. I hope to see everyone again next month when we invite our 3 artists to talk about public art on public land. And please, please, please check out this video, check out our speakers' websites, check out their art. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us here at Clark County, or you can definitely reach out to our speakers if you have any other questions about Burning Man. Again, thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your Tuesday evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.